Yes guys, welcome back to the channel. So I've got something a little bit different today. I get a lot of questions on Instagram, on YouTube about my long exposure shots and my shots in general on how I edit them. So what I did last night, I went out, took some shots, long exposures, and I recorded the process. And you'll see that in the video now. But what I've done is I've showed you guys the raw shots or just the JPEG unedited in the video coming up. And what I'm going to do at the end of this video is I'm going to edit 2 or 3 of them with you. So I'm going to show you my process, how I edit them, what I use, etc, etc. Before we get into what we did last night, I would love you guys to like this video, comment if you have any questions, share this, and subscribe to the channel. Alright, so this is what we did last night, and then at the end of this video, I'm going to show you how I edit these shots. Alright, let's go! Yes guys, I'm literally near Canary Wharf, and I found this dual carriageway where I'm going to try and get some night trails, some light trails. I'm literally by East India Dock, the station is just there, so I'm going to get some trails set up here. As you can see, my camera is already set up, and I'm going to take some shots from here. I just want to go through a few things with you guys. I'm going to literally start shooting from here. My f-stop is at 7.1. I'm going to shoot for 10 seconds, ISO at 100. I hope you guys can see that on my screen. And when I shoot long exposures in situations like this, I like to look for subjects like the buildings, or like in the past stuff like Tower Bridge or different subjects. I hardly ever get the trails by themselves, but that's my preference. I just love having like a subject with along with the trails. So I've set it on the timer so it will shoot after 2 seconds, so we'll try and get some shots now. So yeah, shooting for 10 seconds. And there we have it. I'll put that back on the screen again. Like I said before, I'm going to edit these with you guys. I'm going to put the raw photo up, well not the raw photo, the JPEG. But at the end of the video, I'm going to edit some of the shots and show you how I edit as well. Okay, so same settings as before. I've just come back a little bit and I'm going to take a couple shots from here as well. Again, I'm shooting after 2 seconds, so I've set my camera on the timer and it's going to shoot for 10 seconds. And there we have the shot on the camera screen. Just zoomed in a little bit there. And there we have the picture on the screen. I'm going to try and now, same shot, but I'm going to widen the angle. So I've got some cars coming, I'm going to shoot it now. Again, the timer is set for 2 seconds and it's going to shoot for 10 seconds. While that's shooting, I just want to show you the trains, the DLRs coming, or going I should say. I'll try and get a long exposure of that train going. But yeah, back to the wider angle shot I took here. So again, like I said, I'm going to show you some of the unedited shots. By the end of the video, I'm going to show you how I edit it. So yeah, there's the shot there, no edits. What I'll do now is I'm going to wait for another DLR train to go by up there. I'll see if I can get it from this angle here. So we've got a train there. I think it's coming this way, so I'm going to try and shoot it now. Alright, it's on the move. I'll tell you the settings in a second. So I've captured that. I'm going to move my camera and try and capture it one more time as it's going in the distance. So I've got that in two directions. First direction was us looking at the train station there, and I'll put that on the screen now. Second shot, I moved the camera with the train heading out, and I'll put that on screen now, as you can see. I only shot this for 2 seconds each. F-stop at 2.8, ISO at 100. The reason why I shot for that smaller amount of time, because I found it, the longer that you shoot a moving object like a bus or a train, the less faded it would be. So I wanted it quite thick, so I shoot for a less amount of time. Alright, up next, one of my favourite London spots at night. We've got Westminster Bridge to our right, London Eye right in the middle, and we have like South Bank to our left. So again, I'm going to show you how I approach these long exposure shots. I'll set up and then we'll get started here. My settings right now, I'm going to start at 8 seconds, f-stop at 7.1, my ISO, I usually try to keep it at 100, but we'll take this shot now. And there we have it. I like that. I don't know if you guys can see, there's like a double reflection, so you've got that London Eye reflecting, and then there's a few lights underneath reflecting, which looks really cool. So I'll get a couple more here, and I'll show you these on the screen, unedited. Then I'll edit a couple shots at the end of the video, like I said before. So we're gonna go 30 seconds. I'll keep it at 7.1. So what's happening, the light from my camera is reflecting onto that banister railing there. So I'm going to move the camera away from the camera, and I'll take the shot. So the shot's taken, it's a long one, but I'm not on the camera because of the lights reflecting onto it. But I'll do a quick fast forward. So trust me, it's 30 seconds. I've just fast forwarded the time. So what I'll do is I'll show you what it looks like on the camera now. If you can see it from here. So there it is on the camera. I really love the sky, and there it is. This is like just JPEG, no edits at all. Alright, next part, I'm loving the reflections of County Hall there. So I'm going to move opposite County Hall, see if I can get some long exposure shots to try and get the buildings reflecting into the river. I'm loving the colours, really loving the colours. Even in the bridge as well, the colours and reflections look really nice. So I'm here opposite County Hall, but I don't know if you guys can see from here, the Uber station just below me is getting in the way of the shot, and it's really getting in the way of the shot. It's kind of putting me off. I'm loving it, but the station there is just sticking out like a sore thumb. Apart from that, I'm really loving that. If the station's open, I'm going to try and go down right into the station and get a shot from there. Here it is on the screen now, so you guys can see what I mean with the station just sticking out like a sore thumb. Apart from that, I really like that. So guys, instead of going down to the station, I've gone to the stairs behind me, which is above the station. It looks a bit better here. Keep it landscape mode, 30 seconds, shoot after 2 seconds, ISO 100, the f point at 7.1. So I've taken that shot, or it's still taken at the moment, and there we have it. I really love it, but all the space there at the bottom, it's just getting in the way. as you can see there. So I'm going to go down into the station and try and get some shots from down there. Here we are down at the bottom of the station. Those reflections look absolutely incredible. The camera's already shooting 30 seconds, same settings as before, ISO 100. So there's a shot now. It looks absolutely incredible. I love the sky, I love the colors, and I think I'll edit this at the end of the video. There you go, have it unedited. Loving that. Alright, up next, Vauxhall. This is one of my favorite locations to shoot trails and shoot buses long exposure. I'm going to show you how I shoot them now. So far my settings are 1.6 seconds. F-stop is at 2.8. ISO is at 250. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for some buses to come past, and I'm going to try and get a couple buses. Like I said before, that when I shoot buses and moving objects like trains, I don't shoot for that long of a time, just because I want more of like a thick bus. Let's see if we can get this ambulance quickly. Nah, I'm not really feeling that. But yeah, we'll go back to the buses. We'll wait for some buses to come now. Every shot I've taken so far tonight has been on autofocus. I do use manual focus sometimes when it struggles to lock in that focus, but so far everything I've taken tonight has been on autofocus. Okay, it's just a bit of a waiting game now, waiting for some buses to come. So we have a bus approaching, but there's a truck right in the middle of everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and shoot after that truck goes, because I definitely don't want the truck in the shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the settings up to 2 seconds. Same as before, but literally just moved up the shutter open for 2 seconds. If you ever get the chance, you should definitely try and shoot here. It's like a real hidden gem. They've got some amazing cityscapes, buses galore, and it looks really, really cool. And this is like Vauxhall tube station. So we've got a few buses coming up now, so we'll see if we can capture any of these. Alright, the bus is on the move. Alright, let me shoot this now. So we've captured one. We're going to go again straight away. Not bad. There's another bus there, and we're going to try again. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And these are the shots that I've taken unedited again. So there's a couple more buses, we'll try and get a couple more shots there. Nice. When these ones move off, I'll try and grab them. Settings is 2 seconds, literally same as before. I really love this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the editing process now. This is another unedited version, but I'm going to show you how I edit in a second. Again, another unedited version. Alright guys, so let's get to editing these shots now. So here's the first shot. So I always use Photoshop 100% of the time, but it is very similar to Lightroom. I do have Lightroom, as you can see, or as you've seen just a second ago. But when you bring a raw photo into Photoshop, it kind of brings up the same template that you have in Lightroom. So whatever I say now, whatever I go through now, you have these same settings in Lightroom, so not to worry too much. The first thing I do is check that the picture's upright. Again, you should have these settings in Lightroom. It is upright. I use a tripod, so I'm happy with that. Already I'm absolutely loving the colours in this. Usually if I shoot a shot in the daytime, I usually take the greens, the saturation of the greens out, but I'm loving the green in here. I'm loving the reflections of the green too, so I'm going to leave them in. Two more settings that I click. I believe these are in Lightroom too. Normally there's like a vignette, so when you use the profile correction, it kind of takes that vignette away and it brings the picture out more. I'm going to leave the exposure for now, leave the contrast for now. I'm going to take those highlights down. I always do that with every shot. I'm going to raise the shadows. Again, I always do this 90% of the time in every shot. Especially the shadows, because raising them brings out a lot more details in our pictures. The whites, as you can see what it's doing there. I'm going to leave that as it is. Some of the editing I do is trial and error, but for now I'm going to leave the whites and the blacks where they are. That's what happens when you raise the blacks and take them down, but I'm going to leave them where they are. What I usually do when I shoot a river or a sea or any type of water, I take the clarity down on that water. For this I'm going to use a brush. I know you guys have brushes in Lightroom as well if you're using Lightroom. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush the water. For now I'm just taking the exposure up just so I can see where I'm brushing. But I'm going to take that exposure down in a second. It's literally just to help me to see what I'm brushing and what I'm not brushing. So everything that I've just highlighted. Okay, let me just take that exposure down. But I'm going to take the clarity down now. It kind of gives the water like a silky smooth feel to it. If you take the clarity up, it makes it harsh, but I love the effect it brings when you take that clarity down. I'm going to take the texture down as well, the same type of thing. Dehaze, I'm always trial and error with dehaze, so I'll put that back to 0 in fact. So what I've done now is literally just brush the water, taking the clarity and the texture down, and a tiny bit of the exposures up. Right, I'll go back to the main profile now. Recently I've been taking my saturation down in pictures a lot, but I'm really loving the colours in this one. I'm going to take it up a little bit because it's just making those colours pop. Yeah, I'm loving that. I'll take the vibrance up as well. Alright, I'm going to go back up to contrast and exposure now. Contrast down. I'm going to work with it down, but I'm going to show you what it looks like when you turn it up. It's kind of saturating everything, which kind of looks cool, but for this picture I'll take it down a touch. I'm going to take the exposure down a bit as well. Next up is the curve. again, you definitely have this in Lightroom. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make 2 points, one here, one there. I'm gonna raise the bottom up, raise those shadows. It gives it that kind of matte, glossy look. Take those highlights down a touch. What I may do is take the exposure back up a little bit. Yeah. That's my exposure and contrast. Texture. I do love adding clarity. I know I've taken it down in the water, but I like to put it up. The haze is trial and error again, so I kind of take it up and down to see what I like. That changes everything. It kind of looks like the Northern Lights vibe. It's turned it green, but no, I don't really want that. Even though it would be a cool effect, but not for this shot. Detail. I always sharpen it up, my pictures, to about 80. It's not too noisy, but I'll take that up a bit so I can reduce the noise. Color mixer. So this is where all the magic happens for me. So saturation. If I'm editing a day shot, these greens are coming down most of the time, but I'm really loving those greens here. This part, like with the colors, I always trial and error. I don't have a specific way of thinking. I play with them and see what I like and see what I don't like. This section now I'm going to work without speaking. Just because it's trial and error, but I'll let you see what I'm doing anyway. I'll fast forward it a bit. If you want to check it out, you can always slow it down on YouTube. You got the speed here. In fact, but before I do that, I just want to touch on the white balance. I like to get the picker tool and I look for something that's white. And then I'll kind of let it set it. I do that first of all, but then generally, I like my pictures quite cool, especially at night. So I'll probably take it down. I usually take them down. And that's literally how I set my white balance. I use the picker tool and then I adjust it. 90% of the time I make it cooler. So mainly that's what I do in Camera Raw part of Photoshop. And then I work in Photoshop with the Photoshop profile. I always open it as an object, so in case I want to edit this page again or readjust anything, I can go back because it's as a smart object. But this is opening up in Photoshop now. And there we have it. So here we go. Yes, so this is what I've done so far. All the edits so far in Canary Wharf, and that's the same thing you get in Lightroom. But what I'm going to do next is go to selective color. I'm not sure if you have this in Lightroom, and I'm going to toggle a little bit with the blues here and just work on it and change that up a bit. So first thing I'm going to do is work on the cyans within the blue. So this is literally working on the colors within the colors. So working on the cyans within the blue. So let me take it up a touch. Magentas. I'm going to take it down a bit. I know the actual eye is magenta, but so I'm going to take it down a bit more. Take it down, yeah. Yellows, just toggle with that a little bit. And the blacks, that's blacks all the way up, all the way, then all the way down. But I'll take it up maybe just there. That's me worked in selective color. That's before, and this is after. It's really cooled the image down a bit. We'll take a look at the greens. I'm not going to show if I'm going to really use the screen, but again, a lot of the editing I do is trial and error. So the cyans and the greens. Again, the sky's giving me like a Northern Lights vibe, but I'm not sure if that's the right style for this picture. It's really just affecting that section just down there. Bring those down, yellows up. So to be honest, there's hardly any difference in those, in that selective color. So I'm literally gonna delete it. I'm going to try something. I'm going to add a little bit more saturation to the image, see what it looks like. Again, trial and error. The colors are popping, so I do love colors. The sky, I'm so torn with that sky because that effect is giving me, but maybe it's a little bit too green, so I'll put that back to 0. I'll take the saturation down just a touch. So I'll leave that there. So literally that's all I'm going to do for this image. What I do with all of my pictures, before I take it to print or before Instagram or anything like that, I sharpen the image. How I do that is I'll merge all my layers together. So it's Command, Control, Shift and E. And that just puts all the layers together. Then I go down to Other, High Pass. So let's put in a high pass filter on there. I usually keep it at 3 pixels. And then I change the blend mode to soft light. And that literally just sharpens the whole picture. Let me zoom in and show you. That's with it sharpened. That's without. There's a subtle difference, but it really does help, especially when you post on Instagram. And then I literally just export the image out. That's how I how I would edit this image. The main thing I do is just take the clarity down in the water, and I work on the colors, and it's a lot of trial and error, but yeah. Alright, let's do one more image, but that was this image there. I hope you guys like it. So guys, for this next one, I'm not going to say much. I'm just going to edit it and let you guys watch it. If you really like what I'm doing, again on YouTube, you can slow it down, slow the speed down and see what I'm doing. But please like this video if you like it. Please share, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.